Today I'm going to show you how to color in an image using Pixlr. Since this is November, I'm going to search for a Thanksgiving image. I'm going to go to Tools, make sure that that's on Creative Commons so that I have the rights to use something. I'm going to go to Type, and I'm going to use Line Drawing so I can get a black and white image. We will try this first image here. If I have a document I want to paste into, I can just do Copy Image. If I don't have a document open yet, I can do Copy Image Address. And I can load from URL, and I'll load that image directly and have the correct size. Now what I want to do is I want to duplicate that layer. So click the three dots, duplicate layer. I want the top layer to be multiply, which will make all of the white pixels 1, all of the black pixels 0. Anything times 1 is itself, so if I put a color on white, it will become the new color I painted, such as red. And if I go over black, since that's 0, any color times 0 is 0, so then it will be black. So I want to draw only on the bottom layer, because the top one is multiply. So if I get my paintbrush, say I do red, and I color that, you'll see that I can cover up the white part, but none of the black part, so the lines all stay. And I'll likely want to use the paint bucket to fill things in. So I can click there, and you'll see that it doesn't quite fill in all of those because some of these pixels are slightly grayed. And so the paint bucket has something called a tolerance. Right now it's doing 32, so it's doing up to 32 colors away from the color I click on, which is white. So if I go back and I up this tolerance, since those lines are pretty solidly black, I can go relatively high and click back on those, and it should get more of those partially white, partially black pixels. 128 is halfway, so after that, anything that is more white than black should be covered up if I go higher. It also helps to keep anti-aliasing on. If I turn that off, you'll see that you miss a couple of the pixels that you wouldn't get if it was on. Finish coloring that in. If you have a gap somewhere, you may need to go to your paint bucket, choose a black color, zoom in on that, shrink down your brush size to about the size of that line. This appears to be about 5 pixels. So I'll fill that in. If you want to match a color you've already done on the color chooser, instead of choosing a color here, you can get a recent color, or you can choose a color on the document. If you want to save a file for Canvas, you'll need to do File, Save, and Canvas easily supports JPEG and PNG files. WebP is a little bit smaller, but it will not read it natively in Canvas, so it's easier to go through things with JPEG or PNG. And PXD files are Pixlr files, so if you need to save this to reopen it later, you'll use a PXD file. Since the PNG file is slightly larger than the JPEG file right now, I'm going to use JPEG. We'll download that as a coloring sheet. I'll put that in my downloads folder, save that as a JPEG. Then if I wanted to turn in this file as a student, I go into my classroom, go into assignments, find the assignment I wanted to turn this in for. Click on Submit Assignment. Choose the file I want, which was my coloring sheet. Hit Submit Assignment, and it will be turned in.